Yo, what's good? What's good? YouTube, it's your boy Johnny Finesse. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we got Why Everybody Loves Lil Tecca. If you don't know, Lil Tecca dropped the album Dopamine. Fire. Fire. If you're new to the channel and haven't hit that sub button yet, make sure you hit that sub button. We're on the road to 1,300 subs. We at 270 right now. We've been stagnant. We've been slowing down a little bit. Damn, I look crazy in this V-neck, but I don't care, bro. I don't care, man. But with that being said, let's get into it, man. I don't wanna.
Just a year after his breakthrough hit, Lil Tecca wanted to literally quit music due to his second.
It's crazy because it's like, bro, he drops an album every summer and that shit always hits, bro. That joint always hits.
Poorly, being framed as a one-hit.
Very poorly. That shit hit 35K. Most people that be TikTok famous don't even hit 35K. Like, that's crazy too. That's crazy.
Wonder by his own fans.
That's crazy.
Just a couple years down the line, completely reviving his career and back to dropping Billboard topping hits. Now being seen as one of the most consistent and underrated artists in recent times.
And he's not even underrated for real. He drops every summer, bro. He drops every summer, bro. He drops every summer, bro.
2019 for a second, where Tecca was just 16 years old. Yet that didn't stop him from dropping one of the biggest hits of that year, Ransom. And I don't think I need to explain too much about this song, it would simply go on to become a viral smash hit. Originally debuting on the 93rd position on the Billboard 100, and would eventually peak at the number 4 position, a couple of weeks after gaining more momentum. And we can't talk about Ransom without of course mentioning the iconic Lyrical Lemonade music video that was released alongside it. I mean, at the time, this was absolutely absurd. This random kid just got a top 5
out of nowhere
whilst being completely independent. Now, as an artist, it's good to get your first breakthrough hit. However, it's as important to continue putting out hits so you don't become a one-hit wonder, which Lil Tecca would actually accomplish with his debut project, We Love You Tecca, released on the 30th of August that year, just 4 days after his 17th birthday.
Bro.
This project would include more hit songs such as Shots, Did It Again, Amigo, Love Me, and even the Juice WRLD remix of Ransom. Honestly, the whole album is full of hits, as even just going through it now, some of my favourite songs are some of the least streamed ones, Side Note and Bossa Nova.
Yeah,
bangers. The
bangers.
Debut at the 4th spot on the Billboard 200 albums chart.
68, bro? 68? Nah, that's tough. That's tough, bro. 68? That's tough, bro.
Units in its first week. Outstanding debut numbers. Now, even with the project being liked and performing well, Tecca faced some criticism early on. Tecca won't be the artist you go for deep music or songs with insane production, and he seems to know his niche, making background trap music. At 17, he still has insane potential as an artist. Listening so far, there's no songs which will make me go insane, but they do serve as decent songs to save to the playlist / background stuff, which at first some of you may see as an insult to his music, calling it background music, and in general not
background music is crazy, I ain't gonna lie.
This is probably one of Tecca's best.
This is vibey music.
Keeping his career alive for the long term. If you have the perfect formula, why would you switch it up? So then let's move into 2019, a year and 1 month after the release of his debut album. Tecca would drop Virgo World.
Another fire one. Another fire one.
Lil Durk, Lil Uzi Vert, and Nav. Well, unfortunately for him, this is where things got a little bit sour. The album wasn't perceived well, selling a poor 35,000 units in its first week and debuting at the number 10 spot. Basically,
I ain't gonna lie, it dropped to like half, but at the end of the day, it's still 30. There's some people out here thinking they hot shit, dropping less than 20. Talking about they're the king of their city, dropping less than 20K. So he's doing crazy.
With Tecca himself on Twitter being quite overwhelmed by the hate. I hope I inspired some of the kids that were just like me with this project. That's all I wanted. If I disappointed you, I'm sorry. Thanks for supporting me even if I let you down. With him later on even suggesting he's going to retire. I love y'all, but this won't be continuing as long as y'all thought. There's like 30 other rappers that sound just like me, you'll be good. It seemed like the pressure of being a rap superstar at 18 was getting to Tecca, but why? Well, firstly, fans are upset with the version of Dolly with Lil Uzi Vert that was released, as it was supposedly not as good as the leaked 2018 version, leaving them disappointed that after a long 2-year wait, they didn't get what they wanted. Bruh, we waited years for Dolly to come out and it's completely changed. They really ruined Uzi's best song, and overall
crazy.
that album just didn't contain the same hits his debut project did. It still had 2 big songs with Our Time and Out of Love, however the majority of the songs didn't even break 8 million streams, and from what I can find, most people just didn't find any of the songs to be memorable. They didn't have that same catchy feel like the,
because he was one of the first people to really make songs like that, for real. So it went slow, because you know when you really get hot, like your flow and shit, like there's gonna be like 10 people trying to copy it out of nowhere. There's gonna be like 1 or 2 people that's gonna blow off the same sound as you, but can't be consistent just like him.
We Love You Tecca
No
did.
cap.
Overall, a mediocre album, and compared to his previous drop, a disappointment. It was unfortunate. It must be tough as an 18-year-old to have the pressure of basically dropping another Ransom, or dropping another album with the same amount of hits as We Love You Tecca. But that's the harsh reality of blowing up as an artist. One day people love you, and
next
they're trying to tear you down. But even though it seemed like the pressure was getting to Tecca, the following year would get off to a better start. He would drop multiple successful singles, Jet Ski with Lil Mosey,
Jet Ski fire.
Show Me Up, and Repeat It. He would also
He went
drop
crazy.
his third album, We Love You Tecca 2, with it really doing the same numbers as Virgo World, or actually slightly worse, selling 30,000 units in its first.
That's still not bad, bro.
Debuting at number 10. Again, not atrocious, but not the same heights he had with his debut album. Now, personally, from what I remember back around this time, my thought of Tecca was, like, he isn't an artist where I would go play his albums from start to finish, like someone such as, for example, Juice WRLD. I'm just trying to.
Nah, I wouldn't. Nah. But at the time, his flow, when Ransom came out, that was a whole new wave. You had him, you had Juice WRLD that came out around the same time. I think you had Trippie Redd that blew up around the same time too. They were all doing the same flow. So after a while, you gain a solid fan base. Around 30K is a solid fan base.
Think of artists.
It's just not bad at all.
However,
it's not bad at all.
I rely on Tecca to drop multiple fire songs, like singles a year, with it basically seeming like Tecca was becoming more of a singles artist slash hitmaker than an album kind of artist, which honestly can be a tough decision to make as an artist. Do you be like Tecca and stick with your sound as you know it works, but at the same time people may get bored and the sound may become stale, or do you experiment?
See, here's the thing. I believe when people be like, "Oh, you gotta be versatile." The best artists aren't really versatile for real. Like I know Drake's versatile. Playboi Carti's not versatile. He's not. Playboi Carti's not versatile. Uzi, I guess a little versatile, but everybody else is not versatile. Everybody got like one sound and shit. Travis Scott, not versatile. Like, what are we talking about?
Switch up your
like, you don't have to switch up your sound. For real.
Album with a range of sounds.
Just keep going, bro.
What Ye did, where he completely shifted from the rage sound to that, I don't know, industrial 2093 kind of sound, where you're taking a risk, but you may also discover a new audience. I feel like these two guys on Reddit kind of displayed this perfectly. Did not change his flow at all since the last album. Don't fix what's not broken. It's just that it gets repetitive and the replay value is lower, since a lot of songs sound.
But then niggas be talking about, we missed the old Kanye. We missed the old Uzi. Like, what are we talking about, bro?
So
this is like you can't
similar music year after year.
It's like, what's the point?
If it's working, why change it? However, at the same time, if you're listening to his 20-track album, it can get boring. Now, after We Love You Tecca 2, he would actually take a year break, presumably because the album's performance-wise, he was at a decline. So he probably wanted to take a step back and develop something new, which would end up working extremely well for him. So just under 2 years since We Love You Tecca 2, in the July of 2023, he would come back with a bang, dropping the single 500 pounds. The song would blow up, debuting at the number 60 position on the Billboard Hot 100 and peaking at the 51st position sometime later. At this point in time, it had probably been 2 or 3 years since Tecca got a top 50 Billboard entry, but it seemed like the wait was worth it, especially after his year break. Tecca took some time away to adjust his approach to music, with 500 pounds acting as one of the lead singles to his album Tech, which would drop in the following months. Selling 41,000 units in its first week and debuting at the number 11 position. Overall, very solid numbers, especially in 2023, as over the years with streaming, it's become harder and harder to sell higher numbers. With the album containing some pretty big songs, Heaven on Earth with Kodak Black,
Word, Fell in Love,
Down With Me, with Tecca overall leaving great impressions after his break, dropping a very solid album whilst experimenting with some new production. And what I think everyone loved about this album was the fact it was really the same Tecca we have heard before, but also slightly different, in a good way. He switched it up, but not too much. If anything, sounding way better with this new polished sound. And he pretty much had to do this. The SoundCloud scene he was once part of was completely dead, meaning that whole sound he came up with was dead. And we were heading into this new underground kind of scene with Opium, Yee and so faygo, which I think Tecca adapted to perfectly. He's incorporating his older 2019 sound with this more modern sound, because on Tech there was production from Benny X, Cliff Shane, AM and Thank You Will. As if we compare him to someone like Trippie Redd, whose sound is still that same kind of pop love sound since like 2018, it's a bit stale. And not only is Tecca evolving his style with new producers, he's tapping in with different artists. He of course had Ken Carson on his project and has many other SoundCloud songs with him too, even one of Destroy Lonely. He produced So faygo's biggest hit, Knock Knock, and also has some songs with him. Kid Laroi, Richard Mary, you get the point. I also think this is very important to do as an artist. Stay tapped in with a new generation, as it allows you to stay up to date with that style and sound. In 2024, Tecca would have a bit of a quiet year, not really dropping many singles as he usually would, with him dropping Plan A in the September of that year, doing pretty much the exact same numbers as his last project.
Don't matter, 40k, I take that every time.
As usual,
every time I take that.
Consistent. And funnily enough, he would actually drop on the same day as Future, with a lot of people saying Tecca outdid him. Now I'm going to be honest, this project wasn't anything crazy, and if anything, I just kind of want to skip over it and get to the juicy part of Lil Tecca's comeback heading into 2025. But before we do, I want to show you this. In an interview with Amazon Music, Tecca would reveal he made 500 songs for Plan A, really showing us how dedicated Tecca is to his music, which again I just think shows us why he's managed to keep relevant over such a long time.
Approach it too differently. I kind of just sharpen the skills that I know kind of work for me. Just trusting my intuition when it comes to like beat selection, like melodies, and at the end, like we make 400 songs, and we just try to.
You made how many songs?
400. 400 for this album cycle.
And this was across. This was
it's a year.
A year.
Yeah, this is since
like you gotta understand. People like Tecca, he could stay in the studio all day. Like it sounds crazy, but it's not. You could stay in the studio all day and make 4 to 10 songs, like 5 to 10 songs. He could do that. He probably got his own little studio up in his crib. It's not hard to make. I'm not gonna say it's not hard, but it's possible to make 400 songs within a year. It's possible.
Tech. So out of those, we just try to pick the best songs.
For like an artist at his level, 400 songs is regular. You could ask any other artist at his level, they can make this amount the same amount of songs.
How many songs is that a day on average?
Honestly, I don't know.
Is that like
a little bit more than one a day?
Yeah, it's like
that is. He could be in the studio for hours just chilling, bro, just vibing, making new songs.
1 and a quarter, like
something like that. But there's some days where I'm.
Some days he could just lock in the whole day, just make a whole little EP out of nowhere, cause he's just on fire type shit.
Answer the call of the vagabond know that the best stories aren't about where you went.
I might record 5 songs. There's some days I might not record, and then the next day I record 6 songs. So
that's what I'm saying.
14th of March.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like
March, which many of you will remember as the day Carti dropped the longer-awaited, extremely anticipated music album, pretty much completely breaking the internet for a couple of days prior to the release. But you know who
Fire.
else was dropping on that
Fire.
Friday? Lil Tecca. He had a single titled Dark Thoughts. So with this
That was
dropping
fire
the same
too.
night as music, most people's attentions was on the album, but somehow this single
It still survived.
off. The song would debut at the number 45 position on the Billboard Hot 100, eventually climbing to the 32nd
Boy locked
position
in.
and surpassing Carti's Evil Jordan and Roll Light in streams.
That's
This emerged
crazy.
on track to be his biggest song since Ransom. Now obviously the whole music
That's crazy. And he's under Kendrick and Drake. Like, that's crazy.
is a bit skewed as Tecca dropped one song versus Carti who dropped 30, but I still think it's impressive that even though he dropped on the same night as such a big album, the song still managed to get its shine and momentum. Now this is obviously a huge moment for Tecca, as having such a big single means he will have way more people paying attention to him, and with him dropping his album Dopamine this Friday, this could potentially be his highest selling album since the original We Love You Tecca back in 2019. Fans on Reddit even started comparing the interaction of likes album announcement posts with Dopamine and Plan A had, with the Dopamine posts having 5x the amount of likes, showing that there's way more anticipation for it. So what, Plan A sold 40k? I mean damn, Dopamine
It went up. It went from 30 to 40.
60. Realistically, I think a solid amount would be 50.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say
not
52.
Maybe
Yeah,
he has some
50 as
cool
well.
features, he could push 60. I think he's having like Ken Carson on there. I'm not sure who else he could have. Maybe like Don Toliver. And actually, he dropped another single 2 weeks ago, Oa Oa, which had a lot of hype itself, especially as it's the first song released after Dark Thought. There was a lot of anticipation for that. So I'm recording this after the album dropped. I'm recording this new section.
What you think?
On Saturday night, a whole day after release. And numbers wise, the Dopamine is doing great, but I am seeing some seriously mixed reviews online. Lil Tecca earns the biggest album debut of his career on Spotify with Dopamine, meaning his album outstreams all his other projects on the first day, which is kind of crazy.
That's fire.
He sell more than We Love You Tecca all the way back in 2019.
Honestly, the way, damn, my shirt look crazy. Oh my gosh, bro. But to be honest, the way the attention span is now, he might not. Just because of the way the attention span is now.
That would be kind of crazy. Like, he outstreamed
It's possible.
Lil Wayne on the first day with Carter 6, and Lil Wayne sold like 120k or something. But there's no way Tecca's gonna sell 100k first week. That would be absolutely insane. I mean, he does have two very big singles boosting his streams, but I think like 50 or 60k would be more realistic. And going back to the Lil Wayne thing, I'm pretty sure he had loads of sales because he has pure sales, so people are actually buying the CDs and vinyls. But yeah, I think Tecca could do 60k. That would be great.
That would be amazing.
Even though the album is doing good with its streams, I'm seeing a lot of people say it's just not a very good album, like actually music wise, or more
Yeah,
like
that joint
between
good,
split,
bro. Y'all
very
wildin'.
mixed. Every song on Dopamine with the Buzz Lightyear gif basically saying they all sound the same. After listening, I can safely say he's not saving the summer. Really just a lot of people saying it's boring, which
But a lot of people always say that shit is ass first day it come out, and then after the second day, everybody's saying it's fire. People just trying to get clickbait for the algorithm.
honestly, I think
Really?
sums up the video perfectly.
Really?
Yeah, sure, Tecca's albums aren't something you'll play on repeat from start to finish, but he does always have songs that are topping the charts. And really in 2025, I said this in my Carti video, does dropping a great album even matter? Majority of these people get their music from TikTok or just whatever is trending, so as long as Tecca gets some big hits, he's fine. But yeah, from what I'm seeing, Dopamine isn't bad, just not something you're absolutely blown away by. And really, no one expects that from Tecca in the first place. I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but he's just doing his thing. Dropping more hit singles, dropping another album full of great vibes, and staying out the way. Like, I'm seeing people on Reddit here saying, oh, he needs to try something different, expand his range. But seriously, why?
You don't have to.
Dark Thoughts has 200 million streams in 3 months, but he's supposed to start making something different.
You don't have
It's
to,
like
bro.
telling Nike they should start making microwaves because they've been making sportswear for too long and making too much money. like sure. So yeah, I mean Lil Tecca has done an absolutely great job at reviving his career, because really it was heading downhill after his debut album. People were calling him a one-hit wonder, his numbers were dropping, but he took that 1 year break, came back with Tech and revived his
And
career.
then dropping every year ever since, and it just goes up and up,
He
bro.
makes the same song over and over again. It's boring, it's repetitive, but I think he mixes it up and adjusts his sound just enough where he can be consistent but not make it stale, if that makes sense. Overall, he's done a great job at keeping his career afloat, because if we look at some of his classmates, such as,
They gone.
I don't know, Lil Mosey, well, he actually had
Damn. It's mad unfortunate.
bigger than music problems, but
Mad unfortunate.
Polo G, Lil TJ,
Gone. Polo G, gone. He good though, but gone. Like, last album didn't do too well. He chilling, bro. You don't got two TJs. Little TJ having mad problems right now.
yeah, their careers are at a pretty terrible position. Polo
Yeah.
G's last album sold like 20k first
Yeah,
week.
gone.
TJ's sold like 20k first week too.
And that's not bad though, but it's like, from what you were selling before,
Not only that, but all
that was
the
mad
press and
dramatic.
headlines surrounding their name are bad things. So not only does their music suck, but they're also terrible people that no one likes. You know, Tecca stayed out the way, no beefs, no controversies, just straight focus on his music and moving up in the music industry. Like, he pulls off the mysterious aesthetic perfectly. Like, he's not mysterious the same way like Carti was, but he does the perfect mix of like not being on the internet whilst also keeping his fans satisfied. Like, he keeps it pretty much strictly music. And as I said earlier, a lot of artists fail to evolve their style, sound, aesthetic.
this is a great camera. Oh my goodness. Like, you see the focus is on both of them, but the back is a little blurred out. This is a good ass camera. What type of camera is this?
Pretty much everything, they blow up and get content with where they are at, which leads to them getting sidetracked and not focusing on evolving as much, which leads to them being left behind and falling off. Unlike Tecca, who took a break, tapped in with a new artists, producers, polished up his sound and has managed to stay relevant. Like, sure, Tecca isn't selling 100k with his albums every year, but he does have a very strong fan base and does
And that's
have
all you
consistent
need, bro.
numbers. So yeah, Tecca isn't an artist you can say got you through hard times and really became a super fan of, simply because I don't think there is too much depth to his music. But can you rely on him to drop a summer banger every year and a solid album? I think.
And he has done it. He's done it. But hey, man, if you made it to the end of the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We on the road to 1,300 subs. It's your boy Johnny Finesse. I'ma holla at y'all.